Thank you, ma'am. Now, our next section is by Dr. none other than Dr. Manu Rathi, ma'am. She will be speaking on blood concentrates and adjuvant in dental implantology. And may I invite Dr. Praveen and Dr. One more Dr. Venkat Reddy and for chairing the session. I hope both are joining. Yes, sir. Dr.
Yes, sir.
Reddy, yes, sir. Morning, sir.
Morning.
So let me introduce our chairperson, Dr. A. Venkat Reddy. He is professor and HOD, St. Joseph's Dental College, Iluru, Andhra Pradesh. Sir has graduated from A.B. Shetty Memorial Institute of Dental Sciences, Mangaluru, and done MDS from Bapuji Dental College, Davangere. And our second speaker is Dr. Praveen. Sir Praveen is currently working as professor and HOD in the Department of Prosthodontics at Penania Institute of Dental Science and Research Center, Hyderabad. Sir has teaching, learning and practicing dentistry in 19 years and implantology since 12 years. Over to you, sir.
Namaste. Good afternoon to all the delegates. It gives me an immense pleasure to chair this session of 23rd PG Convention. My sincere thanks to the organizing chairman, Dr. Narendra Padiyar sir, for giving me this opportunity. And it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker of this session, Dr. Manu Rathi, Madam. I am here with a brief profile of her to present before you all. Dr. Manu Rathi, Madam, is presently working as Senior Professor and Head of the Department Prosthodontics at Postgraduate Institution of Dental Sciences, Rohtak. She did her BDS in 1996 and did her MDS in 2001 and DNB in 2004. And she also did MBA in 2014. Currently, ma'am is a President-elect, IPS Haryana State Branch. She has served as a member, Court of Health University, Haryana, and member, Executive Council, IPS, and founder President, IPS Haryana State Branch. She is a member of National Academy of Medical Sciences, Fellow of the International College of Dentists, and Pere Fouchard Academy. She is a diplomat of World Congress for Oral Implantology and recognized postgraduate teacher for more than 16 years. She is the associate editor, member, reviewer for national and international dental and medical journals. She is co-chairman for Dental Technical Committee, NABH, Quality Council of India. She is a certified assessor for National Accreditation Board for hospital and healthcare providers. She has been invited as guest speaker and keynote speaker at national scientific events. She has participated in over 200 conferences, and Dr. Manu Rathi Madam has more than 180 publications in various esteemed peer-reviewed national and international journals. With this background, today, ma'am is going to give a lecture on the topic blood concentrates and adjuvant in dental implantology. Now, I invite Dr. Manu Rathi Madam to deliver her lecture. Good afternoon, ma'am. Please take over.
Good afternoon, respected chairpersons. Thanks for the kind introduction. I hope and pray all are safe at their place. At the onset, I would like to extend my thanks to the Scientific Committee of the Convention for giving me this opportunity to interact with you through my presentation on the topic blood concentrates adjoint in dental implantology. Through this presentation, I'll be sharing the applications of the blood concentrates in the field of the dental implantology. What are the various blood concentrates that are used? What is their role? And what are the methods to obtain them? I will also be sharing my personal in vivo research on the blood concentrates in the dental implantology. The functional aesthetic replacement of missing teeth with artificial substitute has been well established in the dentistry for long years, and the discovery of the osseointegration by Brandmark has forged dentistry into a new era of reconstructive dentistry with predictable success rate. It has led to the continuous drive to achieve best possible results. The available bone is found to be the most important factor in the success of dental implants, and crestal bone is the most critical factor due to its susceptibility to resorption that can range from the crestal bone loss to the complete failure of the dental implant. Bone loss generally starts with the crestal bone loss, and hence the efforts have been targeted towards arrest of the crestal bone loss. The peri-implant bone preservation or maintenance can be achieved, or it can be substituted by use of the biological materials that helps in preservation of resorption, prevention of the resorption of crestal bone loss. Bone resorption at the implant bedside is a common observation, and if I say that it is an inevitable sequelae, then it won't be an exaggeration. So the aim remains to preserve what is available before osteotomy. The resorbed bone can be substituted, and this can be achieved with the different types of the bone grafts. However, biological substitutes like the blood concentrates are surely preferred over alloplastic graft materials. The alloplastic or allogenic graft materials, we have to harvest the bone from the donor site. So the disadvantage associated with this approach is additional surgery and the morbidity at the donor site. Whereas biological substitute happen to be the blood concentrates. And these are not substitute in the strict sense. However, they are the medium to the bone formation. Ideally speaking, any tissue, if it is lost, it should be substituted by the very same biological tissue. If bone is lost, it is to be substituted by the bone. So in that strict sense, blood concentrates are not the biological substitute. However, they definitely serve as a medium for the formation of the bone, which is the required tissue. So the blood concentrate products happen to be the allogenic biological substitute without generating any comorbidity and favoring the substantial bone formation. The benefits associated with blood concentrates in dental implantology include they being the allogenic material, and there is no risk of allergy. No additional surgery is required except for small venipuncture. No donor side morbidity. But the bone growth or the resistance to bone resorption may not be matched for the desired optimal bone. As in case of the graft, we get the amount of the bone exactly what is required. However, with the use of the blood concentrates, we may get suboptimal result as well. Before its application into the implant dentistry, blood concentrates have established success in the field of orthopedics, periodontics, and oral surgery. However, its application in the implant dentistry is relatively newer. The various blood concentrates that have been used are the PRP, the platelet-rich plasma, platelet-rich fibrin, activated platelet-rich fibrin, injectable PRF, concentrated growth factor, etc. How to obtain the blood concentrate? For this, we need to take a patient's blood sample that can be taken from any convenient location like the antecubital fossa. And then this blood sample is centrifuged to separate the various blood components. We know that blood is a mixture of various soluble and insoluble substances. So whenever a gravitational force or the centrifugation force is applied, definitely depending upon the density of the various components, they will get separated. So we centrifuge it at a predetermined speed and the various components get separated. And as per the requirement, we can determine which fragment is to be isolated and that can be utilized. However, here it is very important to understand G factor, which is given by this formula where R is the radius of the rotation, which is measured in millimeters. So G describes the amount of the gravity applied on the sample. Means whenever we centrifuge the blood sample, certain gravitational forces applied. However, we should not take it that varying the speed would apply the different amount of the gravitational force and it will separate the same components. However, the component separated is determined by the G factor. G is a universal factor and that can be calculated to develop an experiment. Whereas RPM, the rotation per minute, on the other hand, will not always represent the same force in different machine. For example, when revolving at 2000 RPM, a large centrifuge with lower radius will spin samples at a higher G force than a smaller centrifuge with a shorter radius length. So here the RPM remains same. However, the fragments we get are different. So we really have to tighter the G factor instead of RPM. By varying the G factor and the rotations, we can separate out the different fragments of the blood depending upon its density and the concentration. Like first one, the most commonly the utilized factor, first factor was the platelet-rich plasma that was obtained by 2400 RPM for 10 minutes. Later, the speed variation was done to get the platelet-rich fibrin 3000 RPM for 12 minutes. Then APRF was obtained using 1500 RPM for 14 minutes. As the science advanced, it was realized that not only varying the speed would separate the different components, rather a change in the speed with acceleration and deceleration will further separate out the finer components. So the CGF was separated utilizing acceleration for 30 seconds and then centrifuge 2700 RPM for 5 minutes, decreasing to 2400 for RPM for 4 minutes, again increasing 2700 RPM for 4 minutes, and then to 3000 RPM for 3 minutes, and then decelerating for 36 seconds. So by varying this acceleration and deceleration, varying force is applied and the even finer components get separated. I'll be sharing few of the original in vivo prospective studies of the blood concentrates used in the dental implantology. The first research was regarding the biomodification of the dental implant with the use of platelet-rich plasma. PRP is the portion of the plasma fraction of the autologous blood having a platelet concentration above the baseline. And it has been referred in the literature with the various names including platelet-rich plasma, platelet-rich concentrate, platelet releasiate, and autologous platelet gel as well. It enhances the healing of the bone grafts and the integration of the implant into the bone as activated platelets release autogenous growth factors into the wound healing site. In this study with the PRP on the dental implants, 30 subjects were included. In the first group, the implants were placed by following conventional single-stage surgical protocol and immediately loaded within 2 weeks. Whereas this second group, the test group, the implants were placed after dipping in activated PRP and received implant supported supported prosthesis. And this study population included 43% males, 56% females with a mean age range of 18 to 56 years of age. I am sharing a prototype of this research. In this, the young patient reported with the missing 4-6 and the diagnostic models were made for the assessment. Radiographic investigation was carried out. Here, the IOP were taken using the RIN apparatus. The purpose was to standardize the radiograph for the further follow-up. This is the OPG of the same patient. For this patient, acrylic resin radiographic stent was prepared. And in this radiographic stent, a gutta percha radio opaque marker was incorporated at the prospective place of the dental implant. And this position was analyzed in between the teeth utilizing a surveyor. And this radiographic stent was placed intraorally and the CBCT was done after that. So that in addition to the dental structures, we could get this radio opaque marker in relation to the edentulous. I hope you can, in the right diagram, you can appreciate the vertical radio opaque marker. That is actually a gutta percha stick which has been incorporated in the stent. And this clearly gives an idea about the desired occlusal position of the restoration in relation to the crest of the edentulous span. And then we can also assess how much the deviation is to be required depending upon the availability of the bone in relation to the best desired position. For the PRP preparation, the patient's blood was drawn from the antecubital fossa. It was mixed with the anticoagulant in the vacutainer. Here we don't use the glass test tubes. And the centrifugation at the desired speed was done. And the right diagram, it is seen that the lower is the platelet-rich plasma covered with the superficial buffy layer. And then the surgical phase was carried out. Mucoperiosteal flap was raised under local anesthesia. The osteotomy site was prepared, utilized, following all the standard precautions. Then PRP was activated. And after that, this PRP was coated onto the implant. So there is no specific container available to coat the implant. However, also we would like to keep the amount of the PRP minimum so that we have to draw the minimum amount of the blood from the patient. So one easy tip is that the implant packing itself was utilized as a coating medium. The PRP which was obtained was filled into the implant packing, and since it is quite sterile available with us, and then implant was dipped into the this PRP. It will ensure that there is a minimal space between the implant and its packing. There is definite spaces there all around. However, there's a minimal space, so the requirement of the PRP becomes minimum. So we have to draw the minimum blood required from the patient. There is no wastage. And after that, the implant was placed at the prepared osteotomy site and the flap was closed. Temporization was done, and after that the final impression was made, putting the abutment in position, and the final prosthesis was given, and the right diagram is the final prosthesis in situ right lateral view. During the follow-up, the various hard and soft tissue parameters of the implant were measured. The implant stability was measured using the perio test, and also the crestal bone level was assessed using the Digimizer image analysis tool. As we had standardized the radiographs, so various radiographs were taken, and every time we measured the amount of the bone, the reference point, a stable reference point, that is the first thread of the implant, was utilized as a reference, and the crestal bone height was measured in relation to that to assess the bone changes. So out of the 30 implants, 13 implants were placed in the males and 17 in the females, and a statistically significant difference was noticed in the implant stability with PRP at the baseline. The effect of the PRP on the bone height changes were not statistically significant at all time intervals, that is baseline, 1 month and 3 months. A statistically significant difference was noticed in implant stability with PRP at the baseline, and a synergistic effect of PRP was observed on improved implant stability and bone levels. This chart shows the comparison of the bone levels on the mesial and distal side, because it was a two-dimensional radiographic study, so we could measure only the mesial and distal side through the IOPA radiograph. This research is available online, and it has been cited in the literature sometimes. Another research on the blood concentrate was biomodification of the dental implant with the use of the platelet-rich fibrin. For this, 20 subjects were selected, and then in these patients, aluminum oxide blasted and SEDET implant surface-treated tapered threaded dental implants were randomly placed with and without PRP, and they were immediately provisionalized. The first was the study group where PRF was used, and second one was the control group where no PRF was used. This is I am sharing one case of study in this of this study. This is the preoperative OPG of the young patient showing the decayed tooth. It was an immediate implant placement. Standardized intraoral periapical radiograph was done. Patient was prepared for the surgery under local anesthesia. The root stump in the anterior 2-1 area was atraumatically extracted with minimal of trauma to the bone. And this extracted root stump was utilized to assess the size of the implant chosen, and the socket was curated and irrigated well to remove any of the pathology that may be associated with the root stump. And after that, osteotomy site was prepared using the pilot drill, and then the paralleling pin was used to check the angulation of this implant in relation to the adjoining teeth, and then the wrench was used for the implant placement. For PRF preparation, patient's blood was drawn, it was collected and transferred to the centrifuge machine, and PRF was obtained after centrifugation. And then it was the PRF fraction was separated from the RBC fraction. Kindly appreciate in the right top diagram, there is a one red zone, dark red zone, light red zone, and the clear zone. So we have to separate the PRF fraction from the fibrin clot. However, over here, we don't purely take only the fibrin. It is best to take 1 to 2 millimeters of the red zone as well, because that is also having very high concentrates of the PRF. And after that, the PRF membrane was obtained by squeezing it. This PRF membrane was placed over the surgical site and the primary closure was achieved. And follow-up was done through the IOPA radiograph, and the bone changes were assessed. Over here, I would like to share one of the clinical tips, because when we placed the PRF membrane over the implant and closed the flap over it, there are quite chances that the PRF membrane slips from its position underneath the flap. To ensure this, so it may not remain at the crestal bone where we want the best the effect of the PRF on the crestal bone. So to overcome this difficulty, it was tried that the PRF membrane, a punch was done in the center of the PRF membrane with the biopsy punch, which exactly matched the diameter of the implant. This is a different patient, not the previous one. So in this, 2 implants were placed, and central hole was created with the biopsy punch exactly matching with the diameter of the implant. Kindly appreciate. And then this PRF membrane was placed around the implant that was exactly encircling the implant at the crestal bone, where the effect of the PRF was desired. And this encircling ensured that it will not be displaced underneath the flap. This is the same patient where that was followed and the bone changes were analyzed. This is also available online. So the mean marginal bone changes were observed from the baseline to 3 months in both the groups, with lesser changes observed towards the PRF group. However, no significant difference in probing length and bleeding on probing were noted during 3 months. The peri-implant tissue showed changes within 3 months follow-up, and they were within the clinical expectations. So this is a graph describing the results of the study. This study is available online, and this is also cited in the literature quite elaborately. So these are the few of its citations of this study. Another research report is regarding the biomodification of the dental implant surface with the use of the APRF. So I'm sharing another case from this study where the patient was prepared for the osteotomy preparation under local anesthesia, and the crestal incision was given. Mucoperiosteal flap was raised and the osteotomy site was prepared, and the paralleling pin was used to ensure the orientation of the implant in relation to the adjoining teeth. Then the patient's blood was collected and APRF was obtained, as I discussed in the different centrifugation speed. And this was separated from the RBC fraction. And after that, this membrane was placed at the osteotomy site. And after that, the dental implant was placed in situ. And this is the post-operative view of the same patient, endosteous single stage implant placed and early functional loading of the same patient. And during the follow-up, the bone changes were assessed in this study, and also the soft and hard tissue both were assessed, periodontal tissues, and also the perio test was utilized to assess the stability, and radiographic evaluation was also carried out during the follow-up. Another research report regarding the modification with the CGF. I'm sharing one patient from this study. The patient was prepared for the surgery under local anesthesia, crestal incision given, complete mucoperiosteal flap was raised, and osteotomy site was prepared using the standard precautions, and CGF was obtained. This blood concentrate was retrieved from the test tube, and APRF separated from the RBC fraction, and the CGF membrane was prepared. CGF membrane was placed at the osteotomy site, and the dental implant placement was done in situ, and dental implant was placed with healing abutment, and suturing was done. And after that, the restoration was given. These patients were also followed radiographically to observe the bone changes and the soft tissue changes. the periodontal parameters and the implant stability and the bone changes specifically at the crestal margin. They were assessed and significant positive changes were observed in case of the test group. So these are the crestal bone changes on the mesial and distal side that was measured on the IOP radiograph with the use of the CGF around the dental implant. Also, the difference in the mean implant stability between these groups during the 6 months follow-up was statistically significant. Another research report where the PRF in augmented immediate and delayed implant placement was also studied. In this, 17 patients were included and total of 10 implants were placed and augmented with the freshly prepared PRF in both the groups. This study concentrated upon the immediate or the delayed placement of the implants. And these are the results of the study. There was not much statistically significant difference in the crestal bone level between these groups at the baseline in the 3 months. However, in the group 1, an increase in the crestal bone level over a period of 3 months, both at the mesial and the distal side of implant was observed. So this also resulted in a significant positive results. Another research report, and this study assessed the effect of PRF treated with the platform matched dental implant and the non-treated platform switch dental implants on the peri-implant soft tissues. Because after the various studies on the blood concentrate, it was observed that these blood concentrate gives us a very positive result on the crestal bone loss. However, the same claim has been made by the effect of the platform switching concept. So the idea behind this research was that whether a simple change in the mechanical design of the implant as per the concept of the platform switching, that gives a better result at the better preservation of the crestal bone loss, and also a biological substitute which gives a better results. So merely a simple mechanical design can give the comparable results with the biological substitute or not. So to assess this factor, the study was carried out. In this, after screening 54 subjects, 20 subjects were selected and 20 implants were placed in first group with implant. The first group was with the implant abutment interface mismatch to assess the effect of platform switching onto the crestal bone. Whereas in the second group, there was no mismatching of the implant and abutment, but the PRF was used. So means here the biological factor was being utilized in group 2, whereas in group 1, a mechanical factor or design factor was utilized to see the effect on the crestal bone. So sharing one case from this study, the surgical site was prepared for the surgery under the local anesthesia and crestal incision was given. Complete thickness mucoperiosteal flap was elevated. Osteotomy site was prepared and dental implant was placed in the osteotomy site. Blood was drawn. And after that, the PRF was obtained in the centrifugation and mechanical separation of the PRF was done from the RBC fraction. PRF membrane was created and then it was placed in situ and then implant was placed and sutured in position. This is the post-operative view after the cementation. And during the follow-up, the various soft tissue parameters were assessed, the probing depth, bleeding on probing, or any suppuration. So in this research, this is the comparison of the modified circular bleeding index in the implant abutment interface mismatch group and the group with the matched implant abutment interface and enhanced with the PRF. So the comparable results were observed in these two groups. So these were the few of the studies that have been conducted to observe the effect of blood concentrates on the implants. Few of the merits I would like to share the merits of these studies. Then these may be of utility to the clinician in that it provides information on the effectiveness of the blood concentrates. The IOP radiographs used for the assessment of the bone level were obtained using the paralleling technique to minimize the distortion and standardized by using occlusal putty jig so that there is no variation in the radiographs during the follow-up. CT scan was carried out for all these cases by placing radiographic stent fabricated by using milling machine by drilling a hole in the direction of the prospective implant placement and then this hole was filled with the radiopaque marker, the Gutta-Percha cone, and hence an accurate assessment of the bone dimensions could be calculated at the exact predetermined site of the implant location. The PRF or the PRP, but they were freshly prepared and used without delay to exert maximum beneficial effect. And it is observed that if the PRP is prepared, it is kept aside for some time if its effect reduces. So how to extract the maximum benefit out of it? One of the strategy that I have followed is that once I give the local anesthesia to the patient, after giving the local anesthesia, I draw the blood and then put it into for the centrifugation. In the meantime, the centrifugation is taking place. The surgical phase is carried out for the flap, raising the flap and osteotomy site. By the time the osteotomy site is ready, and on the same side by side, the blood concentrate is also ready. So neither we have to wait after preparing the osteotomy site, nor the prepared blood concentrate has to be kept stored for some time. So the most freshly prepared blood concentrate can be utilized. So a single centrifuge machine was used throughout the study because any variation in the centrifuge machine also leads to the different fragments. Though by looking at the test tube, we won't be able to make out what fragment has been separated. And so the best way to standardize the fraction of the blood obtained is to standardize the centrifugation process. And so these prospective randomized controlled trials were based on, however, these are the limitations. I would like to draw your attention toward the shortcomings or the areas where we could improve these studies is that these prospective trials were based on the smaller sample size and the platelet concentrate prior to application was not measured. So after, as I mentioned earlier, that we take the sample, put it to a centrifugation at a certain parameter, and it is believed that we would be getting that particular fraction of them. But we did not quantify, and we haven't been able to quantify what actually we got. Did we actually get the intended component or not? So standardization, the centrifugation is the only method we adopted and believed that it separated the same fraction every time. However, it was not qualified also. More soft tissue indices can be used to assess the effect on the peri-implant soft tissues as well. So the peri-implant crestal bone levels were evaluated throughout the two-dimensional radiography. Only IUPA radiograph were utilized, so we could assess only mesial and distal crestal bone changes. So best would be to have a three-dimensional or peri-implant bone idea. A shorter follow-up period have been utilized in the studies. A longer would give a better idea about the effect of the blood concentrates. Also, in these study, perio test has been used. So, better, more sensitive devices may be used to assess the stability. So, after from these studies, I can say that the quantity and the quality of the bone surrounding an implant not only affects the osseointegration, but also influences the shape and contour of the overlying soft tissues, which are important for the aesthetic outcome of treatment. So assessment of the marginal bone levels and peri-implant soft tissues has become an integral part of the evaluation of the implant patient and is usually a significant indicator of the implant health. So in the process of tissue regeneration, many growth factors are expressed and can be used as agents to promote and enhance both soft and hard tissue repair. Ample evidence is available regarding the viability of the platelet concentrates on enhancement of the bone and associated tissue healing. And the application of the platelet-derived factors around dental implant is an innovative and very much biological approach. Further, we can take these researches one step ahead by separating the further finer components of the blood. Like there are many growth factors present. The platelet-derived growth factor, transforming growth factor, interleukin 1 and 2, fibroblast growth factor, platelet activating factor 4, platelet-derived endothelial growth factor, vascular endothelial growth factors. So if we are further able to fractionate these specific fragments, then we can be more specific in our research. And it is definite these attribute to the subsequent bone fill at the implant site. So in these studies, the platelet concentrate played a significant role in achieving and maintaining the peri-implant bone level. Here I would like to mention that when we say bone level, here it is not specified that bone growth. We didn't measure the bone growth. Rather, the blood concentrate contribute towards minimizing the bone resorption. So bone growth is actually very minimal, if at all achieved. It aims at reducing the bone resorption. So the possible cascade of reaction in platelet concentrate group could be that it provides various growth factors or the circulating stem cells. The various growth factors and cytokines trapped within PRP or PRF matrix are generally released, and these are responsible for increasing the cell mitosis, increasing collagen production, recruiting other cells to the surgical site, initiating vascular ingrowth, the neovascularization, and induces cell differentiation, and hence accelerates hard tissue repair or the regeneration. That it is believed that it acts through this mechanism. So based on the results obtained from these clinical studies, the clinical recommendations are that these studies evaluated the clinical effectiveness of blood concentrates on bone formation and soft tissue healing around the dental implant, specifically the crestal bone level. The post-operative clinical and radiographic course demonstrated a significant reduction in the bone level changes in groups with use of the blood concentrate. So based upon these in vivo original studies, I can conclude that the blood concentrates are definitely a promising therapeutic adjuvant in implant dentistry, and it has been an established fact now. These are my references. I thank you all for your patient listening. Your queries are welcome here. And I would like to place on record my thanks to the organizing committee of the conference, Dr. Narendra Padyal sir, Dr. Gaurav Pal Singh, Dr. Meena, and Dr. Pragati Karani. Compliments for organizing such a wonderful convention. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Praveen.
So it was a very good and elaborate presentation. I think all the PGs had whatever they have learned about the PRF and PRP is being summarized in this 40 minutes presentation. The good thing, hello. Yeah, the main good thing about the presentation is a lot of research has been done, and also the cases have been shown. So all the clinical proof is there for all the students and the budding implantologists. And it's been proven that now in your implant kit, this centrifuge machine has also to be added, which ma'am has shown you in all these cases. Few things, ma'am. I just wanted to know, how would PRF influence the bone density? Have you checked out any bone density changes if I'm using in low dense situations, D4 kind?
Sir, thank you so much for your question, sir. As far as my research is concerned, the bone density was not the parameter that was studied. It was only the bone height specifically. Change in the bone height was the aim to be measured, specifically aiming at the crestal bone to pick it at the defect at the initiation. If I may share, in doing these research, when I went through the literature, I didn't come across any of the significant researches that proves the effect of PRP on the blood density, sir, in the literature, sir.
And in case of sinus lift cases?
Sir, the literature is available regarding the dimensions and the size, volume of the bone, but as quantity of the bone. As far as the quality of the bone, the effect of the blood concentrates on the quality of the bone is not extensively studied, sir. And that was not one of the aim or any of the objective of these studies, sir.
No. I'm not talking about the studies which you have presented because you have done extensive work on these blood concentrates.
Sir,
So
sir.
by your experience, did you
Sir.
come across cases where this PRF was benefiting in case of sinus lift cases?
Right, sir. Sir, no, only the effect of blood concentrate on quantity of the bone have been studied and proven in literature. Your question regarding the quality of the bone, no, there has not been proven direct link between the concentrate and the quality of the bone, sir.
One more.
Sir,
Yeah. You're using PRF as replacement for the collagen membrane. Okay.
sir.
So, but how long would this barrier be maintained? Till the
Yes,
bone
sir.
graft matures?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I in the same research after concluding the research that study, sir. Your question is very pertinent. That once this membrane is placed inside the flap, so beneath the flap, it is quite likely that it will be displaced. It will not stay at a position. We might have placed it at the crest of the bone. It might slip either labially, lingually, or anywhere around. So that is why that I utilize that biopsy punch to ensure that this membrane is hooked around the implant, and the diameter of the hole in the membrane was exactly matched with the diameter of the implants, because using the same diameter biopsy punch. So that was the one clinical means which I utilized to ensure that it remains at the destined position. But as far as your next part of the question is for how long it stays over there. So, because there was no reopening of the surgical site, or it was not evaluated by opening it, so it is presumed that it remains there, and duration is not ascertained. Also, it is not established in the literature also, sir, that for how long it takes for the PRF membrane to be absorbed underneath.
Yeah, thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your question, sir.
So, Venkat sir, any questions?
Oh, you have already asked what is there in my mind. One question I had, so that already I had asked regarding that membrane only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, one suggestion we need, ma'am. Like there are many centrifuge machines which are available.
So,
Just ranging from around 5,000 rupees to 50,000.
right, sir.
So how do you, what specifications should we check?
Yeah,
when you're
very
buying
right. Right, sir. So I started with the very primitive one because of the availability and other constraints. However, if today somebody has to start, there are more very refined and very precise centrifugation machines. Definitely, cost is a factor. But there are centrifugation machines which can separate even the minor fractions. Highly sensitive machines, definitely they are costlier. I have not used those machines in my, and it won't be appropriate for me to name any of the commercial products on this platform. But it is for sure that very sensitive machines, excellent machines are available, which can separate even very finer fractions, including the growth factors, separately.
Any specifications can you suggest?
Sorry, sir?
Specification of the machine, anything like that?
Sir, I think that is a very commercial thing.
No, not asking the name, commercial name of the machine, the specifications which we should look for when you're buying it.
Buying, what are the variations of the like RPM and the acceleration and deceleration possibilities?
Okay.
How much is the scale of that? How much fine tuning we can do with the speed and acceleration and deceleration? What is the scale of precision or the details about that? So more are the options of acceleration, deceleration, that would be better ones, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, respected chairpersons.
Thank you.
Thanks to the organizing committee for taking care of all these technical glitches and trying to see to it that the same, I mean, the time factor is also important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Dr.
I would like to
Manurati, for
place
this
on record the thanks to the for giving me this certificate. If I can display, I want to display the certificate. Oh, because of
Sure.
the virtual background, it was not getting displayed. I would like to place on record sincere thanks for sending the certificate well in time. Thank you so very much, organizing committee.
Thank you, Dr. Manu. Great seeing you. Absolute pleasure. And my very good friend, Dr. Venkat Reddy is there. Dr.
Hi.
Praveen, Dr. Sumit. It's absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Secretary, sir.
Thank you. Been an absolute pleasure. Venki, thank you. Good seeing you.
No, it's good. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Groups.
Thank you,
Take
brother.
care.
Thank you, brother.
Take care.
Praveen, kaisa hai aap? All well. I hope everything is good.
All
Great.
good.
Thank you. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.